Hello there. Hope all of you are doing well. Welcome to the Curious Dot.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really embarking on something different, exploring this, fascinating collection of sources we've pulled together. We've got articles, research papers, notes, all promising to kind of peel back the layers on some of the weirdest, most baffling, and sometimes downright bizarre facts, mysteries, and myths from history, science, psychology, the works.
That's exactly it. Think of us as your guides for this deep dive. Our mission really is to cut through all the noise out there and pull out the most compelling bits of knowledge. We want to arm you with those surprising insights, those real aha moments, help you see things a little differently. It's about separating what's genuinely astounding from what's just, commonly mistaken, giving you a shortcut to being in the know without feeling overwhelmed.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Let's start with some truly wild historical facts, because honestly, the past often holds details you just couldn't make up. Take, for instance, this surprising hero from World War II, a Great Dane named Juliana. Yeah. This dog was actually awarded the Blue Cross Medal. And get this, it was because she extinguished an incendiary bomb by peeing on it.
You're kidding.
No, it's true. It's sort of a testament to heroism popping up in the most unexpected places, wouldn't you say?
It absolutely is. Makes you wonder, doesn't it, how many other incredible sort of lesser-known acts of courage are just lost to time. And on a more chilling note, modern science has given us this, startling reevaluation of Alexander the Great.
What?
Scientists now believe he might have been accidentally buried alive.
What?
They think he might have had Guillain-Barré syndrome. It's a rare neurological thing where your immune system attacks your nerves, causes rapid paralysis. So imagine the terror of being fully paralyzed but mentally aware when everyone thought you were dead. It completely changes how you see him, right?
That's a genuinely haunting thought. Okay, shifting from chilling truths to something just quirky. Pineapples. In 18th century England, they were such an insane status symbol that the wealthy would literally just carry them around to show off.
Let's just carry a pineapple.
Yep. And it didn't stop there. Clothing, housewares, everything got pineapple decorations. What does that tell you about, the human need for status?
It's fascinating, isn't it? Like a mirror to our own consumer culture. A rare fruit then, maybe a fancy gadget now. That impulse to display wealth, signal status, it's, remarkably consistent. And if that's not bizarre enough for you, how about this? In the 16th century, some wealthy elites would actually eat dead bodies.
Wait, eat them? Like...
Yes, including Egyptian mummies. They believed it could cure diseases.
Okay, that's beyond bizarre. It highlights a time when beliefs about medicine were just incredibly extreme and, frankly, desperate.
Definitely. And talking about strange customs, have you heard of fox tossing?
Fox tossing? No. What on earth is that?
Popular with Europe's elite 17th, 18th centuries, it literally involved, teams throwing a fox as far and as high as possible.
Throwing a fox as a sport?
As a sport. Shows how much recreational activities have changed, doesn't it? Some elements of sport have definitely evolved, thankfully.
You can say that again.
Indeed. And, while some historical details are just shocking, others actually offer surprisingly practical lessons. Like, did you know that since 1945, all British tanks have tea-making facilities?
Tea in a tank? Why?
Well, apparently, it came about after about 30 tanks were destroyed by Germans while the crews were out on a 15-minute tea break.
Seriously?
Seriously. So the military realized, hey, maybe giving them tea inside the tank keeps them safer, reduces vulnerability. It's a great example of how understanding basic human needs, even for tea, can lead to surprisingly effective strategies.
That's a truly strategic cup of tea. Okay, and thinking about big events. The Great Fire of London in 1666. Huge catastrophe, right? Destroyed over 13,500 houses, 80,000 people displaced.
Massive destruction.
But the surprising part, the number of deaths officially recorded, only 6.
6? With that level of destruction?
6. It's such a stark contrast between the property damage and the human cost. Makes you really wonder about the specific conditions that, limited the fatalities.
It's a potent reminder, isn't it? We see history in these grand narratives, but the details can be incredibly surprising. And speaking of grand narratives, connecting this to how history shapes our legends. Count Dracula.
Right, the ultimate vampire.
Inspired by a real person, a Vlad the Impaler. Called that because, he was known for impaling his enemies outside his castle while they were still twitching
Grim.
extremely. But it shows how these really macabre, brutal elements of the past get transformed into enduring fiction, influencing our culture for centuries.
Okay, so from history's oddities, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Stepping into the world of the unsolved, the puzzles that just persist.
Right. And one of the most perplexing modern ones is the Havana Syndrome.
Ah, yes, I've heard about this. Diplomats getting sick.
Exactly. U.S. diplomats experiencing these concussion-like symptoms, dizziness, memory loss, but with no actual concussions, no physical cause they could pinpoint. And that raises the big question, how do you even start investigating something so elusive? It's like chasing a ghost.
What were the theories? I remember hearing some wild ones.
Oh, they were all over the place. A new kind of weapon, maybe? Covert eavesdropping tech causing weird feedback? Someone even seriously suggested the sound of a lovelorn male crickets.
Crickets. Seriously.
Seriously. And, of course, the psychological angle, the sheer stress of being in a high-threat, high-stress post, it just shows the desperate search for any explanation when you're facing something invisible.
Wow. Okay, from modern unexplained sounds to ancient undeciphered texts. The Voynich manuscript.
Ah, the Voynich. Yes, a truly fascinating object.
It's this 250-page book, right?
Yeah.
It's from the 1400s, written in a language nobody knows.
Exactly. An entirely unknown script, often just called Voynichese, plus illustrations of plants that don't look like anything known on Earth.
And the best guess is it's some kind of medical text.
That's the leading theory, yeah. Maybe herbal remedies or pharmaceutical knowledge. But what's truly mind-boggling is that it's defied every attempt at decipherment for centuries. Cryptographers, linguists, nobody's cracked it. A pure historical enigma.
That human need for answers, even when facing something like that, it's powerful.
It really is. And if we connect that to the bigger picture, you know, how families cope with profound uncertainty, the Sodder children disappearance is just heartbreaking.
Oh, that story is awful. West Virginia, right, 1945.
That's the one. Christmas Eve, the family home burns down. 5 of the 10 Sodder children vanished. No remains found.
And the family never believed they died in the fire.
Never. They were convinced the children were kidnapped, maybe for extortion or some kind of mafia connection or even retaliation because the father, George Sodder, was openly critical of Mussolini.
And they kept that billboard up for decades.
Yeah, with the children's pictures, a symbol of enduring hope maybe, but also just agonizing uncertainty, that lack of closure.
It's such a heavy story. And then there's the classic historical mystery, leaving that chilling void, the lost colony of Roanoke.
Right, the classic. 1587, John White leaves the colony to get supplies from England.
It's delayed by war, right?
Exactly. Returns 3 years later, and the colony is just gone. Meticulously abandoned, it seems. No sign of struggle.
Just the one clue.
Just the one word carved into a post. Croatoan. And no cross symbol, which was apparently the agreed sign if they'd been forced to leave.
So what happened? Did they integrate with the Croatoan tribe? Did they try to sail back? Starve? We just don't know.
We just don't know. A single cryptic word fueling centuries of speculation.
Okay, so we've seen bizarre history, baffling mysteries. What does all this mean for how we understand ourselves, our own minds? Let's tackle some really common myths, especially psychological ones that a lot of us just, well, take for granted.
Good idea. Let's start with a really big one, the 10% brain power myth.
Ah, yeah, everyone's heard that one. If only we could unlock the other 90%.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here is the hope that myth generates, right? The idea that we have all this untapped potential just waiting. It's comforting. But, well, the reality, clinical neurology shows that losing far less than 90% of your brain has catastrophic consequences. And brain scans, they show no silent areas. Every part of the brain is active to some degree, even when we're resting.
So it's just wrong. Flat out.
Pretty much. It's a persistent myth, feels good, but it just doesn't align with how our brains actually work.
Okay, myth busted. What about this one? You see it in movies all the time. Hypnosis is useful for retrieving memories, like cracking open a locked vault in your head.
Right. The idea that hypnosis gives you perfect, almost video recorder recall of suppressed memories. It's a common trope, but the research, it actually shows hypnosis can be unreliable for memory retrieval. It can sometimes create false memories or distort existing ones.
So it's not a truth serum.
Definitely not. There have been cases, like the George Franklin trial, where convictions based on hypnotically retrieved memories were later overturned because the memories proved inaccurate. So tread carefully there.
Interesting. Okay, what about relationship advice? That old saying, opposites attract.
Ah, yes. The romantic ideal of complementary personalities. While it's widely believed, the research actually points much more strongly the other way,
But
towards homophily, or, the other saying, birds of a feather flock together. People are generally more attracted to those who are similar to them in personality, attitudes, values, even appearance to some extent.
So similarity wins out over difference, statistically speaking.
It seems common ground, not stark contrast, is more often the foundation for attraction and lasting relationships.
Okay, let's talk about anger. This idea of catharsis, that venting your anger, really letting it rip, is healthy. Just let it out.
Yeah, the pressure cooker idea, you've got to release the steam, right?
Exactly. But is it actually good for you?
Well, many studies suggest, maybe not, directly venting anger, especially aggressively, can actually feed the aggression. It might reinforce the angry response rather than diffusing it.
So yelling might make you more likely to yell next time.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Psychologists sometimes talk about the post hoc ergo propter hoc fallacy here. Just because feeling better sometimes follows venting doesn't mean the venting caused the improvement. It raises a really important question, doesn't it? If just letting it out isn't the best way, what are the truly effective mechanisms for managing anger healthily?
Good question. All right, another one related to mental health, a common misconception. Schizophrenia means having multiple personalities.
Oh, that's a huge one. And it comes from a misunderstanding of the term itself. Schizophrenia literally means split mind.
Right, so people assume split personalities.
Exactly. But Eugen Bleuler, who coined the term, meant a split within psychological functions, like a disconnect between thoughts and emotions or thoughts and behavior, not multiple distinct personalities coexisting in one person.
That's a different condition entirely.
Completely different. That's dissociative identity disorder, or DID. It's a really important distinction for understanding these conditions accurately and reducing stigma.
Okay, crucial clarification. And finally, let's tackle concerns about a medical procedure. Electroconvulsive therapy, ECT. Lots of people think it's, brutal, dangerous, like something out of an old movie.
Yeah, it definitely has a checkered past, and its portrayal in media, like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, hasn't helped its image.
But the reality today...
Modern ECT is very different. It's done under general anesthesia with muscle relaxants. Medically, it's considered no more physically hazardous than any minor procedure requiring anesthesia.
And it can be effective.
For severe treatment-resistant depression, it can be life-saving, truly transformative for many people, including public figures like Kitty Dukakis, who spoke openly about it. The public perception is often way behind the current medical practice.
Okay, good to clear that up now. Let's shift gears again. Prepare for some truly mind-blowing scientific facts, stuff that might just make you rethink, well, everything.
All right, let's start deep inside our own cells, the endosymbiotic theory. This is just profound.
Okay, lay it on me.
Imagine, billions of years ago, tiny, independent, single-celled organisms,
Right.
bacteria, basically. And they didn't just get eaten by our ancestral cells, they moved in.
Permanently.
Moved in. Yep. They became the powerhouses of our cells, mitochondria.
Yeah.
And in plants, chloroplasts too, they were once free-living bacteria.
So parts of our cells used to be separate organisms.
Exactly. And what's truly fascinating here is the evidence. They still have their own DNA. Inside us.
Wow. That's fun. Okay, here's a weird one about our brains. Choice blindness.
Ah, yes. A fascinating cognitive glitch.
So studies show, right, that you can be asked to pick, say, the more attractive face out of 2 photos.
Okay.
Then, through a little sleight of hand, they actually give you the photo you didn't choose.
And people notice. Right.
That's the crazy part. Most people don't notice the swap. And even weirder, they'll then confidently start explaining why they chose that face, the one they actually rejected.
So our brains just make up a reason after the fact.
It seems so. It shows how easily we can confabulate, create narratives about our own choices, even when the evidence contradicts us. Our reasons might come after the decision, not before.
Mind-bending. Okay, thinking about life itself, let's go to the deep ocean. Chemosynthesis.
Right, around those volcanic vents.
Exactly. Deep, deep down, no sunlight penetrates. Yet around these hydrothermal vents spewing chemicals from the Earth's crust, you find these incredibly rich ecosystems. like underwater rainforests in terms of biodiversity.
But how do they live without sunlight for photosynthesis?
That's the amazing part. They get their energy from chemicals, sulfides, methane, things like that. It's chemosynthesis, not photosynthesis.